business. Okay, business is a system, first and foremost. Normally an economic system in which goods and services are exchanged for one another, or money that is exchanged on the basis of their perceived worth. There's that word again, worth or value. Every business requires some form of investment and a sufficient number of customers to whom its output can be sold at profit on a consistent basis. Now, this concept of business can be applied to everything. It can be applied to the church. It can be applied to your personal life. It can be applied to your educational pursuits. You're going to learn, and we're going to discover, all of us, again and again, that actually we all operate as a business. The next thing, what is entrepreneurship? The concept of entrepreneurship has a wide range of meanings. On the one end, an entrepreneur is a person of high aptitude who pioneers change-possessing characteristics. Who amongst you is creating change? Those are the people that are tapping into the entrepreneurial DNA that exists in them. Again, we all have it, so we're not making a separation. We're not making a segregation. Throughout history, kingdoms, communities, businesses have been built on greed and selfishness by making separation and segregation and putting one group of people down versus the other. If I have to come up by putting you down, I don't want to be up. So that's not authentic entrepreneurship. Now, what is business and entrepreneurship's relationship to innovation? Entrepreneurship also involves substantial innovation. Most entrepreneurship that is successful requires you to do something that's never been done before or do something different than other people are doing it. That is authentic entrepreneurship in relation to innovation. This innovation gives the venture the competitive advantage. Young people, you have to think about what type of competitive advantage do you have as it relates to progressing your goals and objectives in life. There's only a certain amount of student loans. There's only a certain amount of scholarships. There's only a certain amount of quote-unquote handouts. What are you doing and how are you doing it that's giving you the competitive advantage in life? Now, why business? Why are we talking about business in a church? I mean, I think it was Ecclesiastes that said, money answereth all things of the world. Money is a form of business. Why business? There are 25 million small businesses in America. Most have less than 500 employees. 20 million small businesses. Most have less than 50 employees. 17 million small businesses, 1 to 2 employees in America. Small businesses in America pay 50% of all U.S. income taxes in America. The innovators, the entrepreneurs, and the business owners are subsidizing 50% of the federal, state, and local tax base in this country. That's very critical. That's very, very critical. Now, in that, let's make a comparative analysis when you start looking at the priorities, because I believe in the kingdom we have to be relevant and permeated everywhere. We're just not relevant here, okay, in this 4 walls, but we're also relevant in policy discussions, education, the decisions that are being made about your children and your children's future, about the income base of your community, is being made by people sometimes that don't believe what you believe. Right. They don't embrace what you embrace. They don't have the same value system economically, spiritually, or morally, period. And so when we're in here shouting and dancing, they're forming legislation to pass the next day. And the question is, why aren't we a part of this discussion? We say we're kingdom. Now, mind you, the 50% of the tax base that subsidizes the movement of government in this world, in this nation, in this country, in this county, in this city, last time I checked, the majority of churches operate as nonprofits, and outside of payroll taxes, they're tax exempt. Now, some of the churches I talked to, they didn't even know they had to pay payroll taxes, but that's another story. Got to pay your payroll taxes. They're tax exempt. So think about it. When you come to the conversation, when you show up at City Hall, there's a little bit of hostility towards us because rather than us owning businesses and social businesses and schools and all of the things that contribute to the tax base, we have an entire economic system that contributes zero to the tax base. But yet we say we're kingdom people. And we have survived for a period of time by the grace of God and by the favor of God. But there's coming a season, there's coming a time, there's coming a day that we're going to have to operate more so outside of this building than in this building. I had plenty of bishops and overseers and pastors calling me when the snowstorm over the last few months just basically blanketed the U.S. I know pastors who couldn't have service 3 weeks at a time in their buildings. Most churches in America operate week to week. So a lot of these churches are now financially strapped because they were not preparing for acts of God. They were not preparing for the weather. And so it's critical and important for us to have this conversation about innovation and entrepreneurship because the business model of churches is shifting. And now we're going to have to be in the marketplace, and when we say the church, I'm not talking about just the church leadership. I'm talking about you as a part of this congregation, as a part of the people that are in the way of this organization. You are the people that have to be in the marketplace making these decisions and making these investments, starting businesses, starting schools, starting social programs. We've got to permeate society. So that's why this conversation is critical to manifesting the kingdom. Everything around us is a business. Just look around you. Just take a minute. Everything in here. Pick something. Carpet, chairs, fake floors, speakers. That's a business. One business is the false plants. Another business is fresh plants. Everything that you're looking at, if it's not a multi-billion-dollar industry, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. You are in it right now. Everything. Look, pick something in here that is not someone's idea, someone's innovation that has created a multi-billion-dollar industry or a multi-million-dollar industry. So the challenge I'm having is we're moving through it, but we're not attaching to it. We're not transferring any of it. We're not in it. We're talking about it. We're wearing it. We're buying it. We're driving it. We're living in it, but we're not participating in a true, authentic economic conversation. We're consumers and nothing else. Consumers and nothing else. But something isn't right about this conversation. One more example. Your body is even a business. What do you mean your body is a business? What is a business? A business operates on proven systems that collaborate with its various parts to produce a product, a service, or life. You operate as a business. Your organs in your body coordinate with one another, the organs, the tissues. You don't have to think about breathing. You don't have to think about waking up each day. It's an automatic system that operates. God created us. He uses a parallel. He created the universe. He's the great entrepreneur. He's the great innovator. And so he created a universe that ever expands itself. It doesn't stop expanding. It doesn't stop evolving and exploding and creating. But he doesn't get up every day and pull a light switch and say, universe on. The universe is always on. The earth is strategically positioned. The next creation, when he says he created the heaven and the earth, then he created the planet Earth, and he positioned it right where it's supposed to be. He doesn't have to get up and say, I'm going to, reposition you every morning. The earth is where it's supposed to be, in coordination with the other planets and the sun. Did you know if the earth were shifted 1 degree forward towards the sun, it would incinerate? And if the other planets were not there now to block a lot of the sun's rays in orbit, that this planet would be hotter and probably could not even sustain life. If the planet Earth were 1 degree out of its orbit, it would freeze. This is the type of God this is a God of detail. So he created the universe, he created the planet Earth, and then he created you and I, using the same universal principles, self-sustaining, ever-expanding. And here's the key. The universe has everything inside of it to fulfill its universal divine purpose. It does not have to look, it doesn't have to go borrow a loan from another universe to operate. It doesn't have to go and get some sugar and some salt and some ingredients next door to provide for the planets in the universe. The universe has everything already inside of it to perform what God produced. Planet Earth, same parallel. The earth, I don't care who controls the oil, who controls the resources, whatever social, geopolitical constructs they put on it, wars, debates. There's not a shortage of resources on this planet. God placed everything inside of the planet Earth that's necessary and required to fulfill the earth's divine purpose until he says the earth is not necessary anymore. Amen. But guess what? If he did it for the universe, he did it for earth, he did it for you and I. Yes. When he created each and every one of us in his image, not in the image of an animal, not in the image of a beast, but in his image, not in the image of an angel, he placed everything inside of us necessary for us to fulfill our divine purpose as long as we are required on this planet. We have the resources. God, once again, creates everything based upon a pattern, a principle, a law. That's why the law of physics is not partial to me or you. If I walk off of here, unless there's divine intervention of gravity, I'm going to fall right off of here. Bishop, the same thing. Everybody in here could do the same thing. Gravity knows its purpose. Test it and see. Do you know your purpose? It's a question. Do you know why you were created? Why are we here? It's the ultimate question. Why is my life so routine? You know, why am I not experiencing peace? Why am I not experiencing greatness in my life? Why don't I feel confident about how I speak and how I talk? And, you know, why can't I look people in the eye? And why can't I get people straight when they come in? Why am I allowing people, you know, to pull energy out of me, pull life out of me? Why do we allow these things? Why do we allow people to manipulate us when we understand that God has given us a divine purpose in this place, under this man of God, and you've been pulled at everything, every way the wind blows? 10 years ago, you said he placed you here. If a God that's all-knowing placed you here then, why isn't it still relevant 10 years from now? Amen. Because not only are we being manipulated, we've learned how to manipulate. You can only do to others what has been done to you. Is this style of conversation okay with everybody? Okay, I just want to make sure. Let's talk about the image of an innovator, the image of an entrepreneur in the kingdom. It's really quite simple. The reason that I know I will win this case at the conclusion of this message that we are all innovators and we're creators and entrepreneurs is because God is a creator and an innovator and an entrepreneur. And he created something called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. That's about a $100 word. Don't even just remember DNA. DNA is a $10 word. The other one is a $100 word. It's a building block of life. All of the genetic code, everything that says who you are, what you look like, who you will become, is placed inside of you at conception. It's inside before blood cells are even formed, which is the foundation of life and sustaining life. There is an essence that I believe that comes from the Creator, a DNA that is placed in each and every one of us. The main role of DNA in your molecules. Now I'm talking some real scientific cool stuff for all y'all Star Wars folks out there. When you're talking about DNA, you can't see this stuff, right? This makeup, When we talk about we're created in the image of God, God had to put his essence, his life form inside of the molecules that make up the human being. He created us